Hello there, Ian from Eurogamer here. Now, recently I was sent early preview code for the Surge 2, which, not surprisingly, is where this gameplay footage that you're watching right now comes from. I never played the original Surge game, but Johnny, remember him? Reviewed it for our website, and he said he had an okay time with it, so that made me curious enough to give the sequel a try. But then I remembered it was a Soulsborne style game, and that meant it was going to be really hard, and it would probably make me cry. Oh no. Any regular viewingtons out there will know that I'm notoriously bad at games that rely on skill, timing and patience, so my chances of success here looked slim to say the least. Although there was that one time when I shocked like the entire world by spanking a bloodborne werewolf so hard on the arse that it died, so who knows?
Ian, this is bizarre. You're kind of supposed to lose this fight.
I'm circumscribing hello. Obviously, From Software did not
reckon for your. I know.
Do I need to offer myself up as a?
No, I think.
Oh, there we go.
I think you'll get maybe there's another one.
But anyway, after losing my temper in the prologue section and nearly binning the whole thing off after the first mini-boss took me about 2 hours to clear, Aoife gave me a rousing pep talk and told me to get good scrub. So I put my Get Good Scrub hat on, and through blood, tears and literal sweat, I managed to push my way through to the end of the demo.
It's over, isn't it?
Coming out of the other side of the Surge 2 demo, I felt feelings. I felt relief because the stress of the intense combat was over. I felt jubilation because I'd pushed through the pain and actually done something I thought was way above my skill level. But most of all, I felt surprise because even though the nightmare was over, I was actually sad that I'd finished the demo and I desperately wanted to play more. So that's weird. But anyway, here are 6 things I like about the Surge 2 and 1 thing I didn't. In the first Surge game, you had to play as this chap, Warren. I don't really know if Warren was a good character or not, but he kinda looks like your standard, boring, generico Herotron, so it was nice to see a bit of character customization right at the start of the Surge 2. Here you can choose your character's sex and customize their hair, face and skin tone. It's not the most detailed of character creation tools, but it allows you to inject a little bit of your own personality into the game. But customization doesn't stop there. As this is an action RPG, you'll be constantly upgrading your character and customizing their look and weapons as you progress. Most of this customization will be done in medbays, which are basically the Surge 2's version of Dark Souls' bonfires. Here you can bank your tech scraps, which are the Surge's version of souls, and you can use them to upgrade your core module to customize your health, stamina and battery efficiency. Or you can use them to pay for the construction of schematics, or to upgrade other weapons or armors that are in your inventory. Basically, there's enough going on here for you to tailor your character's build to your perfect playstyle. Want to use loads of brain implants to give you a combat boost? Invest in battery efficiency. Feel like running a tank character? Whack it all in health. Want to go fast? Wham bam stamina's your man. And if you feel like your current build isn't doing it for you, there's an option to reset all the stats so you can rebalance yourself to your liking whenever you want. So I'm pretty sure the way you get armor in the Surge 2 is quite close to the way you got it in the original game. And that, my friends, is by lopping off your enemies' bodies piece by piece with whatever sharp implement you happen to have in your hands at the time. By locking onto your enemies, you can cycle through which limbs you're attacking, and once you've beaten the bads to enough of a pulp, you'll be given an on-screen prompt, which, if pressed in time, will trigger a lovely amputation animation, as demonstrated by the following super cheery montage of fun. Now, while this doesn't automatically award you with new gear, you do earn schematics for every new piece of armour you chop off an enemy. So, for instance, cut off an arm with armour on it and you'll get a schematic for that exact piece of armour. Cut off a leg and you'll get that leg armour schematic, and so on and so on. You can then build these parts the next time you visit a med bay, as long as you have the necessary materials and tech scrap, of course. What's interesting is that you can also get specific bonuses if you're wearing a complete set of armour, so it's a very good idea to lop off as many different limbs as possible in order to gather up all the available schematics and materials. That way you'll stand a good chance of acquiring a full set of armour and in turn some hefty defence bonuses. Basically, it's a little bit like Pokemon, if Pokemon were limbs and Pokeballs were really sharp knives? Sorry to drone on at you, but this next point is about a brand new addition to the Surge series. The drone.
Assigning drone to nearby police exo rig.
The drone allows you to finally indulge in some ranged combat, rather than just the traditional melee attacks that veteran Surge players will be used to. The ammo for your drone can be pretty limited though, so you won't be able to continually spam your way through the game from a distance, but it is a very handy tool when it comes to softening up enemies or dispatching turrets or small exploding spider bots without having to go anywhere near them. The drone lives on the back of your exo rig and it will fly out and attack whatever target you're locked onto at the touch of a button, and it can be upgraded with quite a large amount of weaponry, which is nice.
Little Johnny is getting angry!
I hate love the boss fights in the Surge 2. They're freaking hard and they make me rage so much. But just like Soulsborne games, the feeling of elation you get when you finally best them is like nothing else on this earth. The final boss in the demo, a gigantic gas-spewing spider mech piloted by a prick called Little Johnny, took me ages to beat, and my final successful run saw me fighting him for over 10 minutes. I was literally sweating by the end of it, but that adrenaline rush is the exact reason why, even after all that griefing from the game, I wanted to go right back in. What's nice is that the boss battles seem to offer completely different combat scenarios to the ones you face as you progress normally through the game. Warden Garcia, for instance, has the drone and the Molotov attacks, and Little Johnny's huge but incredibly fast spider mech had me rethinking everything I'd previously learnt about the combat. So yeah, I hated them until I beated them, and now I kind of love them. Although, let it be known that I never, ever want to have to fight them ever again. While The Surge 2 doesn't have the best graphics in the world, it does manage to do stuff with its levels that I really enjoyed. The maps are full of shortcuts, hidden areas, little alleyways that lead to loot or death or both. They're multi-level and they consist of really varied environments, which, as I gather, is completely different to the one-note levels of the original game. Not only are the Surge 2's stages interesting though, so are the NPCs that inhabit them. One of the most interesting ones I met was a trader called Penny, who, after asking me to complete a mission for her, lured me into her back room, stabbed me to death, and then proceeded to make burgers out of my corpse.
Welcome to Penny Grinder, sweetheart. It's almost too easy. I've lured you right into my little web. And now, it's dinner time.
Oh great, I lost over 3,000 tech scrap because of that trap. Thanks Penny, I hope you choke on my meat. Wait, what? The labyrinthine nature of the levels, mixed with the unpredictability of the cast of characters, made exploring the world really moorish, and finding shortcuts back to the medbays when you're in desperate need of one is never not satisfying. Another new addition to the Surge 2 is its asynchronous online features. There's no actual online co-op or competitive stuff here, like, say, Dark Souls Invasions, but there is the option to leave markers around the world in the form of graffiti. This is of course another gameplay element that's directly inspired by the Souls games, and it allows players to leave each other hints, tips and warnings. Or they could just be complete and utter douchebags and use them to lure noobs like me into nasty traps. Now I can't get this across strongly enough, but whoever left those 2 arrows pointing towards that gap in the bridge, I hate you. So far, most of the messages I've come across have been pretty helpful though, showing me the location of hidden items or shortcuts to medbays. But there's another new online element to the Surge 2 called a banner that's much more interesting, and it turns you yourself into a collectible. By using the banner feature, players can place a little copy of themselves somewhere in the game world. The banner lasts for around 60 minutes, and the fewer players who discover it during that time, the bigger the bonus you get. Which is cool. Pointless, sure, but still cool. And finally, to the one thing I didn't like about the Surge 2. Basically, there's insta-kill water deaths in this game, and insta-kill water deaths can 100% get absolutely fucked. And there we go, those were my first impressions of the Surge 2 based on the first 4 hours of the game. As you can probably tell, I found it very hard, but even though it nearly made me do a cry, I did really enjoy myself, and I think I'm definitely going to be keen to play it when it comes out in September. If you enjoyed this video, do give it a like, do subscribe to Eurogamer for daily videos about video games, and do have a lovely time harvesting limbs in the Surge 2. Unless you're Penny. Penny can go to hell. Goodbye.